How are we doing, you wonderful people? My name is Jay, and welcome to another episode of Chilling with the Ohmies Podcast. Now, before we get to the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the little notification bell. That way you guys will receive all the channel notifications and you can keep up to date with all the latest videos. And if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, make sure to hit the follow button and then you'll be notified every time an episode goes up. But now that's out of the way, let's get into the podcast. And in today's episode, we have one of my very good friends, a colleague I've had for many years who have built a friendship over a long time. Always been a pleasure being a colleague of yours. And it is James Chesham from the Bishop Stortford store. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Good. Firstly, thank you for coming on. Right now it is Saturday, so this is obviously going to go up on the Sunday. It's all very rushed, just because of our schedules. We wanted to do this for a while with James. He's been more than supportive of the channel, with the videos, and right now it's about 8:45-ish, and we've both got work tomorrow. So firstly, thank you. I do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, not a problem, mate.
Firstly, how are you? How's things? You keeping all right?
Good.
Cool. So what I wanted to talk to you about in the first section is more just to let people get to know you. So, what sort of thing are we into? What do you enjoy doing? What is your, outside of work, what are you into?
So basically, day to day, spending time with my kids.
Okay, cool.
Like a bit of gaming when I can get involved, but
Anything you're playing right now that you're really into, or?
Mario Kart, kid friendly.
Oh,
they can get involved as well. So.
Oh, nice. How old are your kids? If you don't mind me asking.
5 and 3.
Oh, they're a nice age. That's awesome.
Nerf guns and lightsaber battles.
Oh, mate, that's living the dream. That is living the dream. I will eventually get to where you're at one point. That's awesome. So another thing I wanted to touch on is, I wanted to apologise again. As you've seen firsthand now, there is always some sort of technical issue. We've been here a while trying to get everything sorted the way it was, and technology has not been on my side today. It's not been on my side. We've been here for well over an hour setting up and getting things sorted, and I just want to say thank you for putting up with it. One thing I'm curious about, I think a lot of people will be interested about, is how you started your vaping journey. So just to give people a little bit of context, obviously one of the requirements of the podcast is that you vape, and obviously you work in the same industry. But give us a little bit of a story of when you smoked and, what was the turning point for you and things like that.
So it's actually when I found out my wife was pregnant.
Oh, wow, okay.
Couldn't be a smoking dad. Couldn't do that around the kids.
Okay.
Didn't want it anywhere close to him, basically.
Smart move, to be fair.
Was vaping a little bit before, but not really taking it very seriously. And it was the day she came home, told me that she was pregnant. I thought, I can't be smoking anymore.
Honestly, that's a smart decision. A lot of people would get that news and just think, right, well, you can't smoke. I'm going to continue. I just want to do it around you. But what was the first thing that kind of got you into vaping? Like initially, did you smoke a lot before that, or was you just more of a social smoker, like the idea of vaping? I'll jump on it.
20-25 a day beforehand.
Wow.
I got that about down to probably about 20. Just using the vaping sort of as and when it was necessary. Never really took it very seriously. It was just a matter of if I can cut it down a little bit, fine. Wasn't planning on using it to quit. It was just cutting it down. It was easy to get out and vape at work, where I was currently. But
nice. Okay, so it was more of a tool to cut down rather than make the switch completely. Because I find
to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, with a lot of customers that I speak to now, they've got very much a similar mindset. They want to cut down initially, which is strange when you work in this industry sometimes, because I initially wanted to make the switch completely. I just had enough of cigarettes and wanted that alternative. So when I have people that are like, oh, no, I don't want to quit, it takes me a second to readjust and go, what do you mean you don't want to quit? Why would you not want to? But no, that's interesting. And how long were you smoking Taylors or roll-ups? Or
roll-ups, yeah.
Oh, fair play. And how long was you smoking for, roughly?
Probably about 7 years, 8 years.
Oh, similar time to me, to be fair. Perfect. Okay, so do you remember your first device?
So, it was an Elites Cigalike from the back of a newspaper. I actually had to physically send off from it with a cutout in a newspaper.
Wait, what? No. That's awesome.
Was awful. In fact, I was getting more nicotine into my system. I was using that in between going out for cigarettes.
Oh, mate, nicotine overload.
I gave that up pretty quickly. The first one was one of the shisha pens from an Ohmy. They had absolutely no idea what they were selling.
Right, okay.
It wasn't big back then. It wasn't very good, but I had to make do.
Done the job, I suppose.
After that, Innokin MVP came out.
Nice.
Quickly followed by the Nautilus Mini, and that was a good start. So
fair play. So just to give you a little bit of context, how long have you been vaping for now, roughly?
Just over 6 years now, yeah.
Wow, okay. Longer than myself. I think when me and Nick were talking about it, I think we're coming up to about 4 years or just over 4 years. And I don't think you realise how quick it goes, because after a while, I find that, I say the novelty wears off, but you just kind of, it's part of your day to day.
Yeah.
So when you first switched to vaping, I know you said that you initially wanted to cut down, but when you made that decision to go, right, I'm all in now, I'm all on vaping, was your plan to carry on where you were, or was it to drop to 0 milligrams? Because this is a story I hear from a lot of people, like myself included. When I first I was all in, made the switch. I was like, right, I'm going to get to 0 milligrams and give up completely. And well, that didn't happen. I've got down to about 3, sometimes at 1.5, but I don't think I could smoke a 0 constantly, especially now we've got Nick salts and things like that.
So the initial plan, to give up, but I'm a bit of a hobbyist with these sort of things. So as soon as it became an interest for me, it was, right, next mod, new tank, let's start rebuildables. Oh, I can now use a mech.
Was you big on the rebuildable mech scene when it was like first exploded?
Yeah, but initially that was because if you wanted vapor production and you wanted a big hit, you had to use a mech. These big boxes weren't around. My first box on MVP did 11 watts.
Killer power.
So you couldn't really do too much with it. So back then it was, you wanted a cloud, you had a mech. You didn't want a cloud, or there were a few boxes around. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I'd say now that the box mods have got so good, the chips have got so good, I don't see the point of mechanical mods personally. Why run that risk when you've got a box that will safely do that for you?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, you hit the nail on the head. You know, back when you first kind of got into it as a hobby, you are right. There was nothing else around. It was kind of, if I want this, I've got to either use a mech or go without. Simple as that. Right now in the industry, if I see you using a mech, I assume you're like an extreme hobbyist. You do it because you like it, and you're doing it because, well, they're all over Instagram. Everyone you see on Instagram that runs a mech, it's more of a showpiece rather than a daily driver. Whereas, like you said, back then, if you wanted that, you had to make a mech a daily driver.
Yeah.
Okay, so as times have changed and regulated boxes are a given thing now, in the series and parallels and stuff. So what was the first device that really made you fall in love with this industry? What do you think that is what is turned me?
Going to be really familiar for a lot of people.
Okay.
Nautilus Mini, iStick 20 watts.
Oh.
It fit in your pocket, it worked, it was recommended for years. Even so, the Nautilus stayed the same, and the iStick went to the 30, to the 40. That was a suggestion for every newcomer. Nautilus Mini, iStick. Still selling Nautilus Mini in the store today, and it still sells.
It's funny you should say that, because today I had 3 customers in a row, like different time periods throughout the day, that come in still using the Nautilus Mini. But all they've done is change the Nautilus coils over time because they've found ones that fit their device better. I think it's mad how Aspire have created devices that are almost timeless, because they just like the Nautilus Mini is years old. You still use it today, not a problem. I think that's mental.
Yeah, mine's still sitting on my desk at home.
That's crazy.
It's always set up, and it has never not been set up since I bought it. Same one. I broke the glass a couple of times, but
fair enough. I like the fact you can get the extension glasses for those as well. Make them nice and millimeter, 5 mil, I think.
Yeah, I use it in here, and new vapors will go to me, why the hell what's up with that? Why is it bottom fill? Why do you have to take it apart? Well, back in my day, kids.
Some people don't know the struggle with bottom fill.
Kids may have been the wrong word to use. Everybody is ID, guys.
We do not condone underage vaping by any means. So, okay, just out of curiosity, when you said you went for the newspaper stuff, when was the first time you started going to vape stores? Did you want to meet other vapors? Did you want to get involved in that community, or just kind of see what was about in shops at the time, or were they not really about when you first started?
I mean, not really about, because I took an interest in it pretty quickly. I knew more than the people selling me these things. So I'd come in and ask a replacement coil, And they'd be like, what do you mean? I was like, the bit that goes inside. Oh, right, fair enough. Or they try and
That's
sell me
crazy.
a new clearomizer instead because they didn't know that you could actually change the coil in that clearomizer. And I'd be on about silica wick, heard about cotton wick coming out. And they'd have absolutely no idea what I was on about. So when vape shops actually came through, I was like, that's what I want to be involved in. Nobody knows this information yet.
I think it's crazy how this industry's developed over the last, even just the last 5 years, let alone, I think we probably had the biggest push over the last decade, I'd say, from, noticeably. But in the last 5 years, it has rapidly excelled. And I think it's crazy because now, obviously you'll understand as you work in the same company I do, having that knowledge and being able to work with like the NHS for provide, so I can't even talk, for provide, or, having that stop smoking practitioner kind of stapled with what you do, like, I think that's crazy because, like you said, you were going into stores when they were brand new and these people didn't know what they were talking about, didn't know what they were selling. Now it's being linked with the NHS. They're supporting it. The government are, as much as I don't think they publicly show it as much as they should, they do publicly support the research that's gone into it. And I just think it's crazy. I think it's come such a long way.
Yeah, well, not many vape stores will have the NHS practitioning courses. I mean, I've got my certificate over the wall over there.
Literally,
that's
as I was thinking
something
about
we've done.
I saw it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's mental.
I think it's brilliant that we can give that extra information to our customers. We're not just trying to sell them something. We genuinely care. We want them off of the cigarettes.
Yeah.
A lot of vape shops might not do that. It's, here's your setup. There you go. We'll set that up for each customer. We'll go through it with each customer. We assess their nicotine strength. We genuinely care.
Exactly. I say this to a lot of customers. And it's not to kind of push the narrative of why you should come to our stores, even though that is part of my job. It's, for me, I care about people too much. Now, from the health benefits, I think I might speak to you guys about this in the last podcast, but my dad smokes it must be about 40 roll-ups a day, right? He's been smoking them without a filter, old Hoban, proper nasty stuff, mate. OG sort of, it's grim. When he rolls a cigarette, like, it's so thick that the papers just touch.
That's it. I was on Blue Drums, so I can relate.
Oh, mate, it's like confetti, that stuff. It's grim. But he's never going to change. I've tried. And it's... when people are smoking for so long, it becomes, obviously, you get addicted to it, it becomes a habit. And for me, it's I care about those people. I see what my dad has done, and I've gone the complete opposite. Being able to make the switch and feeling better in myself, not having chest infections, and having all this research that suggests it's 95% safer alternative. I want to pass it on to people because of how it's affected my life. And it might sound a bit cliche, but I think that there's two types of vape shops. You've got, like you said, stores that will just set you up the most expensive bit of kit that isn't designed to help you. It's just to get money in the till. And then you've got stores like where we work for, where we pride ourselves on not only customer service, but customer aftercare. So someone comes in with an issue. I'm going to be honest, whether anyone higher up watches this, I don't care if their device is in warranty or not. I'm going to do what I can to help them people because I care about them to continue to vape. And I've seen a lot of people, either they don't know how to change a coil because they bought it from somewhere else, and just by doing something simple like that, they then come back to you as a lifetime customer because you've taken extra care. But I've seen a lot of people that will have a little issue like that and then just go back to cigarettes. Yeah. And I don't want to be that guy that goes, well, it's out of warranty, sorry, can't help you. And I know that there's certain things you can't, and you can obviously help them with something that they can replace.
There's always a solution.
Exactly. It's taking that extra step to find a solution for people. And like you said, I don't think there's enough companies, stores, or even employees out there that care the way we do.
Well, a lot of people, if you didn't buy it from us, we're not helping you with it. And that's the wrong approach from it. I don't care if you bought it from eBay. We're going to get you set up. We're going to get you sorted. We're going to create the rapport straight away. For my day, if I'm spending all day in here, I want people coming in that know about me, I know about them, that I can have a good conversation with. You don't want to be sitting here all day not speaking to anybody.
Exactly that.
Half of the job is getting to know your customers. The rest comes pretty easily after that.
So where were you mindset wise? So before you ventured into the vaping industry, I want to talk about that, and a whole next part of the show is about the experience of the industry. But what was your day-to-day like before then? Was it just what I call normal jobs where you like stacking shelves, doing, just the odds and sods? Or did you have a career path before coming into vaping? Or, give us a bit of context on that.
So I was actually working for a mobile repair company.
Oh, wow.
We'd get a load of old broken phones in, get them all, take them all apart, and build grade A phones to sell on.
Oh, nice. Fair play.
So
it's just always interesting. I job hop a lot. Well, since I've known you, I've been in this company, out this company, in this company, I think about 3 times now. For various reasons. It's not, I actually love my job. And I was saying on my Instagram stories that I feel very privileged to one, be welcome back, and 2, like where this company's going, I really agree with. I agree with the vision. So if they can stick to that and we can provide from our end, I think it's genuinely going to help a lot of people quit smoking.
You could admit, man, you just miss me. It's fine. Like,
it's
absolutely fine.
I don't want to say it. To be fair, I did miss a lot of stuff. I miss people like yourself, people like Dave. Oh, what happened to my voice there? Apparently, I've just hit puberty. People like Dave, people like yourself. Oh, yeah, I'm too young to be in it. I did miss that a lot. I don't know what is going on. I'm going to have a drink. I have no idea what's going on with my voice. It never usually does it. Fair enough. So, going from that, where would you like to see the industry in the next 5 years? What do you think is going to happen? Do you personally think it can adapt and evolve anymore? Do you think it's going to stagnate? I'd like to get people's opinions on this that work in the industry, because everyone has a different approach to this.
Well, me and you both been in the industry to know there's always the next big thing. At the moment, it's pods, mods. There's always going to be that new thing. I think for the next year or so, it's going to stay with pod mods.
What do you think?
Well, they're getting more powerful. They're getting smaller, better batteries, removable batteries. You look at what I've got on the desk. 2 out of 3 are pod mods. Day-to-day basis, out about with the kids. Don't take this out with me. It's inconvenient. It's big. It's a pain. I don't want to be blowing clouds.
Yeah, of course.
Pod mods are where it's going to stay, I reckon.
Out of 10, when it comes to pod systems and pod mods, how high would you rate them in terms of I'm glad they were invented, if that makes any sense? So for me, I'm like 9 out of 10. I'm so happy that they are now a thing, that they are now a staple in the industry. I think they're genuinely helping so many people make the switch because of how simple they are, how they can deliver the nicotine, the flavour you get from them. And like you said, with an external battery, like this Mullis, however you say it, I cannot put this down. You guys know I've done a review on this. I think
the fact that there's only 2 of us in the room, both have this product.
It speaks volumes.
Speaks volumes, yeah. I think pod mods, even when they first came out and you had the lack of flavour, people didn't care because of the size of the thing.
Very compact, very convenient.
It was absolutely brilliant. Like you said, it's great for any newcomer. Anybody can get one of these up and running. For me, 10 out of 10 with these. I think they're absolutely brilliant. And being a big mouth-to-lung vapor myself, having something that I could just slip into a pocket and not worry about is absolutely excellent.
That is one thing I've noticed about yourself. I think for everyone's vaping journey is different, hence why we always start with that. And I think for me, I've gone full circle. So I did what the typical new vapor does, and that's not a bad thing for to say. But usually, what happens with people is they'll come in, they'll make that first step of I need to change, I need to make the switch, which isn't a problem. That's what we're here for. You make the switch successfully, and you get something what I call shiny eyes, and you go, everything looks pretty, I want it, and you'll buy everything, and then you want to upgrade your kit, you want to upgrade your e-liquid, you want to go from PG to VG, then you want to start making your own, you want to start rebuilding, you go through the whole lot, and then you find you get to rebuildables, it becomes a phase because there's only so far you can go of it until you go, I can't be bothered to do that every day and carry that around.
Even working in a vape shop, you're sitting there like, yeah, I'm not going to rebuild.
It's actually killed it for me.
Stock coils in, it's absolutely fine. Yeah,
it has actually killed it for me. Like the way I see it, if any of you guys go into a vape store and the guy behind or the girl that's working behind there, the people that work there, that's what I meant to say. If they're not using a rebuildable, it's because they've had enough of them. They probably, or they just haven't had that phase yet.
Yeah, I've always got mine in my bag.
And I'm always there to help people. But I always found that if you go into a vape shop and the people that work there don't use rebuildables on a daily basis, there's a reason.
But again, I think that's where there's the turn in the industry. Sub-ohm tanks have come along so far that the stock coils can do that wattage. They can carry that flavour that you don't necessarily have to have a rebuildable if you don't want to. Whereas again, go back a couple of years, if you wanted a big vapor production, you bought rebuildable. Yeah. You wanted the flavour, you got a rebuildable. And
there was one phase of the industry that started to creep in. I think it was the start of last year, and it didn't seem to last very long. and that was the dual RDAs. Did you ever see those?
No.
Right. So Fast Tech were a big, I say culprit. They were one of the big distributors, as they are anyway. A lot of stuff comes from China, but some of it's better than others. We'll be honest. But it was essentially a regulated device that had 2 tubes. You could get unregulated, the whole works. Any sort of what's it called? Addition you wanted, I suppose. But on the top, it would be 2 separate RDAs and a chamber that mixed them. So essentially, you could vape.
Sorry, you said dual? I thought you said joule, as in...
Oh, sorry, my bad. No,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? You can have like the
Tesla
2 and it goes into
one.
one. And what was that all about?
Great if you wanted to blast through 2 batteries and have to spend double the amount of time rebuilding.
I hate rebuilding full stop, let alone do it twice the amount for one device.
The trouble is getting everything completely the same. If you're doing 2 coils, it's a bit of mucking about. If you're doing 4 coils on that, absolute pain. Now, the Tesla looked great, but did you ever have one of those in your hand?
No,
so I see carrying a trophy around.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow, that's mad. I'm glad that didn't stick, because now you can't get them. Yeah. You can't get them anywhere. I don't even think Fast Tech list them anymore. That's mad.
Good idea if it was done right, but again, the battery technology wasn't there. You stick 2 21-700s in there.
That's true.
And you're laughing now. I mean, personally, I wouldn't buy one, but
I'm quite glad that 21-700s and 2700s are coming a bit more predominant in the regulated device sort of like niche, I suppose, because everything's sort of in their own niche. I'm glad that that's more of a thing. Like even going back 18 months, you very rarely saw a dual 21-700 mod or a dual 2700. It was always 18650, 18650. How good can we get the output or the ampage on these 18650s? But now we're starting to see a lot more, and I'm all for it.
I think Vupu changed that.
Do you think? Okay.
Their X217.
Brilliant mod.
Yeah.
I love it. Like,
again,
honestly,
one
it's
we
so
both
good.
have. And chuck it in with a decent chip as well. You're laughing. You're really not charging that thing. I sold one today.
Oh, you sold one today?
Yeah.
Happy days. No, they're honestly,
my
a
last
really good
one in
piece of
stock,
kit.
but great bit of kit.
It's a fantastic bit of kit. Okay, so in terms of where you see the industry going, what do you think is the next big thing, or something you can see either that's on the horizon, that's maybe quite in its infancy, coming forward? Is there anything that you feel there's still a gap for?
So not actually vape products as such, but where actual vape shops are going.
Okay.
You're seeing more and more now full lounges, people incorporating other things into these vape shops. I think they're going to become much more of a lounge than anything else. Loads of people in, chilling, having a few beers if they can.
I totally agree.
Cups of coffee, that sort of thing. I think that's where we need to be leaning in. Smokers were sociable, moving over to vaping, they're sociable. You've got that crowd that are more than happy to, when they were smoking, go, have you got a spare cigarette? Have you got a lighter? That sort of thing. They're already talking to strangers. You add a few extra bits and get it a lounge, you're going to have those people sitting, chilling, spending their evenings with you. I mean, you're noticing more and more vape shops, late opening hours.
Yeah.
It's not conventional 9 till 5:30 anymore.
No, I think that's where we get stuck into the retail industry. And a lot of our stores, not our stores specifically, but in general, have the whole office hours. I think it's very outdated now. I think you're right. Leaning into that lounge side is where it needs to go.
You're almost leaning into hospitality.
Yeah, 100%.
With that. Yes, we are a retail store, but we're also here with our customers offering the hospitality side of it.
Yeah, of course. You have to be. You have to be.
Which is brilliant. I don't want to go into a shop where it's, here's what you wanted, see you later. Yeah, that's the point. I won't go into a vape shop unless I get the same feel as customers get when they come into my shop, or any Phoenix shop for that matter.
No, that makes sense. I totally agree. And that's something that I think that myself, you, a select few managers, if not all the managers now, are really starting to understand the importance of community and the importance of having that community around. It's not only just we've got people in here and they're not spending money from a business side. It's a case of we're building something. Yeah. We're building a brand recognition. We're building rather than a shop, a destination place where people can come in and have chill on their lunch breaks, have their coffee, still get their supplies, meet other vapors. I think that you hit the nail on the head. Leaning into that lounge setting, I think is going to dominate in the next few years. And I think that the traditional shops or the people that are set up to make a quick buck, I don't think they're going to be around in the next 4 or 5 years.
This is the thing. I've just come back from doing a couple of days in the Stevenage store. And it felt like I was in my own store because I was straight out talking to customers. It was that same sort of approach in it. People were really happy. I was talking to a few of the customers as if I knew them, as if they were my customers, and you just get that same feel in any of them.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. I've been quite fortunate to work in a fair different stores. Obviously, I've covered you a few times as well here.
Yeah,
and
which I do
you are
appreciate.
right. Sorry, any time, mate. I think at the time I was just desperate for hours. I'd have killed someone for some more shifts. But no, you're totally right. Any Phoenix store I go in, it has a similar feel, similar vibe, and I like that. I like that what we're trying to build. Now, some of you guys will know that I left for a period, and I'll swiftly come back. There's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the things I noticed, and this isn't a dig, and I won't name names or places, but one thing I noticed heavily is it was more shop orientated than lounge, and I could not get on that dynamic. I just couldn't. Being here for a few years now, and having the freedom to create your own community, having that stripped away, you're like, well, what do you do for 9 hours a day? Like, you just get your responsibility stripped right back.
Well, it's the fact that we are actual managers. Here's your store. Yes, the bottom line is
Head office made a
that's
decision.
successful, and head office are making decisions.
We have the
But
freedom in between.
We had that massive freedom with this. I've never had that with any other job. Coming in, being able to lay this out how I want. Obviously, you can't see it on camera, but we've got a ton of Star Wars stuff in here.
Yeah.
I've never had head office come down and say, get rid of any of that. They're absolutely fine to have your personality in there. In fact, they want your personality in here. They want you to be on those sort of terms with customers.
And I love that.
It's brilliant. We do games nights in here, got Nintendo Wii set up in the corner.
Nice.
It's a laugh, bit of Guitar Hero, that sort of thing.
I love
What
that.
job can you go and do that for?
Right, guys, we actually got a bit carried away with that chinwag. So we're going to take a little break now, and then we're going to get into the bulk and the meat of the podcast. So bear with us 1 second, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Chilling with the Ohmies podcast. I'm here with my guest today, which is James. Welcome. I'm so grateful for you to be here. Thank you again for being on.
No problem, mate.
And this is the main topic of today's podcast. Now, what I thought would be quite handy and also quite... I think a lot of viewers are quite curious as to what it's actually like working in the industry. And what I'm trying to do with the channel is not only give vape advice or just do reviews. I'm trying to mix it up and trying to show a bit more about what it's like being, I say, in the front line, like we're actually fighting for something, but actually being a manager of a store and being day to day with customers. Because I'm pretty sure with you doing this for so long, you've got some funny stories. You've got just having someone else's input to kind of paint that picture a little bit more. So I kind of want to start with a few things. Now, like I said to you off camera, it doesn't have to be, you don't got a name drop or be specific. Because I don't want anyone to get in trouble. It's just, it's a laugh. But I want to start off with what is your most favourite thing about working in this industry? What is the thing you think, this is why I love being in the vaping industry?
Getting up every morning.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that sounds weird. Every other job I've had is means to an end. Money comes in, it pays my rent, it pays for food, pays for anything for the kids. Getting up with this, I don't hate coming to work. I don't think, God, I've got to go to work. It's, got another day in a vape shop. Absolutely fine with that. I think that's one of the big ones. I'm going to spend my day talking with like-minded people, having a good chat, seeing how so-and-so's dog is, and all that sort of thing. It's brilliant. Most of the time, it almost feels you're being paid to spend time with your mates.
I'll give you that.
Because, yes, everybody's got different backgrounds, all that sort of thing, but everybody loves a good old chat, and you get to know people and genuinely know people. It's not just a quick
it's
in,
not,
out, and done.
It's not surface level. You actually get to know these people
Yeah.
and their backstories and their characteristics and what they're into, what they're not, and you see these people more regular. I always likened this industry to almost being a therapist for some people. Now, I know it sounds daft, right? I know it does sound daft, but just hear me out. We see certain customers once a week, sometimes twice a week, and on a very rare occasion, 3 to 4 times a week, but they might not be purchasing something every time, right? They just come in and see how things are. Now, 9 times out of 10, these people will share parts of their life with us. And I kind of liken it to a scene where, you've got the bartender who's wiping down the bar, and you've got someone at the end who's absolutely trolleyed, and they're going, oh, this is happening, this is happening. I'm not saying that everyone comes in a vape shop is clinically depressed. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is they do share a lot, and I like that aspect of the job.
Yeah, we hear a lot of personal details.
Yeah, we
that
do.
they probably haven't told even their therapist.
Exactly, and I like that.
Sometimes it's brilliant, sometimes it's a bit, mate, overshare.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, if I was a bit more evil as a person, you could definitely have a few silver bullets. But I like the fact that they feel that comfortable coming into your store or my store and saying, look, Jay, or look, James, this is going on. Either I just need you to be a set of ears, or if you've got any advice. For me, that's a massive plus. And I think for myself, you hit the nail on the head. And when I moved company, it then become more day and night of I hated getting up for work. I just did. Any other job I've done, I hate getting up for work. Like, I'll set my alarm and go, I've got 6.5 hours before I've got to get up, which is bad time management for me. I'll openly admit that. But when I'm working here and in this industry, I'm like, I've got 4 hours to sleep. Oh, well, I get to go to the best job in the world. And I don't want people to watch this or listen and just say, oh, they're just, bigging up where they work. It's genuine. This is why I wanted to get you on, so you can kind of paint this picture. I honestly can't say that there's another industry where I've got up and gone, yeah, I want to do this every day till I retire. Yeah. The rest of it's like, nah, when's payday? When can I leave? Like,
how much holiday have I got remaining?
How long's the notice? Do you know what I mean? Getting on job search and just going, there must be something else.
Is that your plan?
Yeah, that's my plan. Yeah. Okay, so we'll flip it on its head. What is the worst thing about working in this industry?
Silly questions. It's got to be silly questions.
Okay. Can you
and
give
it's
some
always
examples?
the same. Silly jokes, silly questions. One, even when it's not vaping here, people coming through and, I can't even see you. Yeah. I'm over here.
Yeah. We get that a lot, to be fair.
Yes, that's brilliant. Other ones, the device you sold me is broken. It's just 5 clicks, mate. Give it back to them. And it's always the people that are too busy to stay for a setup. We offer a setup every time. I'm not more on it. I can work this out.
And then they end up
a day later. This is broken. I want a refund. Well, actually, mate, it's just 5 quick clicks. There you go, buddy. And you don't say it as sarcastically as that.
No,
you walk them through it. You get them sorted and send them on their way. But
this is another reason why I like doing the podcast. It's having that realer side of it. Because I totally get it. I get so frustrated with certain questions, certain types of customer attitudes, as I think anyone in retail does, especially hospitality as well. I'm not leaving you guys out. You guys are absolute soldiers.
Yeah, especially over Christmas and New Year's. Thank you guys.
Like, honestly, I know that we thank our military and the blue light services, and rightfully so, we should. We should definitely put a massive shout out there for anyone in hospitality or retail over the Christmas period, because honestly, you do not understand the level of stupidity till you work in these industries. And that's not me being horrible. It's genuine. It's one of those things. I think for me, you can gauge a customer very quickly if they're going to listen to your setup or not.
Yeah.
And do you find it difficult to... I personally like to keep a certain level of customer service. I pride myself on it, and I know that you do too. But sometimes, when you just speak to a customer and they're like, yeah, I know everything, mate. You're wasting your breath. Like, I will get this sorted. Is there a certain point where you just think, okay, cool. There you are. See you later. And then they come back and they go, and work. And you're like, I knew that was going to happen if you'd have just listened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, it gets like that. We sit this side of the counter and we're not pretending that we know everything about everything to do with vaping.
That's something to clear up as well.
And when somebody just won't listen to you with the simple stuff and they're playing around with their phone or something while you're doing a setup, and you think, I'm going to see this guy again and again. And you try every single time to go over it, but you're generally going over the same thing over and over. That's when I go to, there's absolutely tons of reviews and how-to guides on YouTube. It gets to a point where you physically can't say the same thing again. Just have a look on YouTube. It's absolutely fine.
Fair enough. That's where people like me come in. So we can just be like, I've got a back catalogue of stuff. One thing I do really like about the channel, and obviously with your support with the channel as well, James has been a very avid supporter of the channel, which I'm very grateful of, is engaging with you guys in the comments. So you guys are incredible. Every time there's a video, there's a comment, and it's not just like, I say, to me, there's no such thing as a pointless comment. But sometimes you look at comments and you think, you took your time out to say that? Like, do you know what I mean? But most of the time with you guys, it's thoughtful, it's detailed, it's either asking a question, getting involved, and like we touched on earlier, building a community. And being able to do that with you guys and, as a store, it's almost like, for me, it's like a 24/7 thing. And it goes so far. So
I mean, to be fair, when we're saying this as well, 99.5% of the customers don't fall into anything we've actually said.
That is one thing to clear up.
It is just the odd one.
They slip through the net.
We talk to other vape shops in our town. Yes, there are competition, but if you can keep it friendly, have a good dialogue going with them, that's great. And very often they've seen the same customers and they know exactly who you're talking about.
Exactly.
So it's one of them, really.
It is one of those, to be fair. And no, I totally get it. Do you have any funny stories from customers over the years? Is there anything that's really stuck out and you thought, wow, I'm going to tell my kids that when they're old enough, or I need to tell my colleagues, or I need to tell someone, this is just hilarious?
So we've had people coming in that have genuinely taken the coil out of the device to increase their tank capacity. Coming in, why is this leaking? You've taken the coil out. What do you mean the metal thing that was in my way? Yep, that'd be it.
Wow. What? I actually remember you telling me this on a WhatsApp.
Yeah, you didn't believe me until it happened to you.
I genuinely did not believe James.
The next day.
when I left our company and moved to another one, he was like, trust me, there's a certain few people that this has happened to in this town. And I'm like, yeah, right, he's trying to pull my leg. He's just having a bit of banter with me. Literally, the next day when I went to work, I had the same thing. I had this elderly woman come in. She was lovely, don't get me wrong. She was lovely. She was like, oh, it's leaking. And I was like, there's no coil in it. I was trying to be like, well, when you do something every day, it becomes obvious to you.
Yeah.
So I'm always cautious to go, these people may not know that.
Yeah, you're almost perplexed how they didn't know that. And you think, well, actually, I've been doing this for quite a few years.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was a case of, oh, well, there's no coil in that. I didn't really know how else. And she was like, oh, what's that? And I showed her, and there was still 2 in the box. So she'd recently bought this kit. And I was like, I know I hadn't sold it because I'd have physically set it up for her. The coils were dry. So she'd got it from somewhere. Maybe she bought it online or whatever. And I remember as soon as she obviously helped her out with her issue, explained why it was important to have a coil in there and, what actually how it works and things. Sent her on her way. She was over the moon. Lovely. And luckily, I didn't see her again. So she obviously took on board what we were saying and, it helped her out. This is where you tell me you saw her like a week later or something. But I was just so baffled.
I can still beat that one, though.
Yeah? Okay.
So the guy started a kit. He come back about a week later. It's burnt all to hell, and there's bits floating in it. I said to him,
okay.
What's in there? He's like, oh, yeah, tobacco juice. Didn't taste tobacco enough. I was like, right. Rolling tobacco. He'd filled it up with that.
You are kidding
That'll
me.
make it taste more tobacco-y.
You are kidding me.
No, I wish I was.
Wait. A guy put tobacco, physical
rolling tobacco. He topped up his tank to make it taste more tobacco.
There comes a certain line where you just think that is just plain stupidity.
Yeah, thank God he didn't have a Jaeger or a vodka flavour or something like that. He'd probably be out there somewhere just lying on the ground.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Do you remember, just because you said about the Jaeger, do you remember the Tide Pod craze where that guy vaped a Tide Pod?
Yeah, morons, yeah.
Absolute idiots. Obviously, we do not condone that. It's just something that popped in my head. What a stupid thing. Like that whole trend, fair enough. But why did the industry have to?
At least you can see the logic with the tobacco thing. But vaping a Tide Pod, where is the logic there at all?
Doing anything with a Tide Pod other than its suggested use is a bit like, what are you doing?
Clean your damn clothes with it.
Exactly. That's what it's made for. That's mad. Wait, so we've both had an experience with a customer with no coil in their device. And I genuinely thought, wow, okay, this is a...
Every time I tell that story, nobody thinks it's true.
Hey, I'll admit...
It sounds so silly that...
Yeah, I'll admit, I was one of the first people you told, and I went, I don't believe her. Until it happened. I can't believe... It was like it was written in the stars. The literal next day, it happened to me, and I thought, nah, he set this up. Like... You sent this little old lady.
The person. I thought it'd be really
you
fun.
Sent this little old lady.
It's actually my nan.
Oh dear. Okay, so just for a bit of context for the guys either watching or listening, how long have you been working in the industry for now?
So I've been with this company about just over 4 years. I was with another company for a little under a year before that.
Okay. And is there anything specifically about... I mean, I want to talk about the industry, but I also want to talk about where we work, because I think people deserve to know. And I think that, if anyone higher up is watching this and they feel like they can correct this, then by all means get in touch. But I feel like we're in a position where Phoenix want to be as vulnerable as possible because they want people to see what we're doing to improve. Is there anything that's made Phoenix stick out for you long term? Like, you've been here a fair few years, you've seen a lot of changes. Is there any in particular that maybe go, I believe in this company?
Always been listened to. It's a big thing for me. Even if they don't go with my ideas, I've always been given the time of day.
Okay, I'll give you that.
That's a big one for me. Even if it's a no to your idea, this is why. This is what we're going to do. If you could help with that, that'd be great. It's not just been, no, not doing that.
That's fair enough. I'll give you this. Yeah, that is spot on.
I mean, I think all of us working in this industry have always had offers from other companies.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
I never felt I'd get the same sort of time of day as I do with Phoenix. I think a lot, especially recently, what we're doing with the company,
I think this is a big
from
year.
The ground up. It's not from head office down. It's from how can you guys help to get where we want to be. I think a lot of us feel appreciated. A lot of us have our input listened to.
100%.
I think you with your new roles, me with mine, we're doing a lot. We feel very involved in this.
Oh, I was explaining this to one of my friends earlier who just come in the store to see me. I hadn't seen him in a while. He was like, oh, you're back here. I was chatting. And he was saying, what was one of the many reasons that you come back? Because I always say to people, I'll be open and honest with anyone. I didn't enjoy my time at the other company for various reasons, which I don't want to go into. It's nothing malicious. It's just I'd rather not throw anyone under the bus. Do you know what I mean? Yep. But one of the things you touched on it earlier, we are the managers. We're given the tools and resources. We do with it as we please, obviously within the rules of the company, but we control our own budgets. Like, we get to order our own stock. Not very many vape shops in the UK get to do that.
Here's your list, get it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Not fun.
Or we've ordered it, it will be here this day. Like, do you know what I mean? That was a massive thing for me. And like I said, when you were saying about in the next 5 years, the industry leaning into lounges, I'll be brutally honest, Phoenix have been trying to do that for a few years, and I think that they failed miserably because they've put their focus into other things because of various reasons. I'm not saying that they, they neglected it, or they didn't want to, or they just couldn't be bothered. They had other things, they had other priorities, which I respect. But I think this is a year, what you said, building from the ground up, I think they respect where we're on the front line. I keep saying, excuse me, they respect that. They see what we see every day, and they're taking on our input a lot more. Oh, I keep burping. I probably shouldn't have had Coke.
No, well, I think the trouble is if you've got your team down here that are on the front line, or actually selling to customers, that sort of thing, and then you've got your team at head office up here, and there's no communication.
That's where it breaks down.
That's where it breaks down.
Yeah.
If you've actively got people from up here in with the people that are here, and everybody's being listened to, and you're actually working as a team to get where you want to be, it's going to go in the direction you want it to.
Like, I think it's absolutely crazy that when I started the YouTube journey, I've been on YouTube for a fair few years now. I think it was 2014 when I started my channel.
Well, I'd actually seen you on YouTube before I even met you in this company. We were sitting in a car, and I was like, I recognize you. I think it took all day before I was like, right, yeah, I've seen one of your videos.
Yeah,
and when I said, was it this one? You were like, yeah. That was me.
Absolutely mad.
Like, right, yeah.
Absolutely mad that it's such a small world. And I'm so grateful for you guys, because without you guys and obviously support from people like yourself, wouldn't be where I am now. But it took me a long time to really focus in on a niche of what do I enjoy creating. I'd like to try and make things as cinematic as possible without making it cliche. So I just want to get it good, and I want to have the content to have value for whoever's watching. For a long time, Dudley, who has had a lot of input on this channel and the podcast and things like that, and James knows as well, he's a regular in his store. Thank you for that. Taking the custody of Dudley for while I'm not in store for. I completely lost my trail of thought. Yeah, sorry. I'm back with you. I'm on the planet. It's been one of those days. Yeah, having the input and finding out. Well, I was told a lot that I should do vaping content. I was like, no, it's my job. I don't want it to be spilling over. But then when I actually realised that makes sense, I should probably do that, and started that journey, at first the company were like, cool, do what you want. We're not interested. And in a matter of 6 to 7 months, as I've been doing it consistently, like people like yourself and other managers have been really getting behind it, the company are now like, cool, do what you want with that. We really like that. Incorporate that as much as you want, because they know. I think that this is something they've also realised, is they're now giving people roles for what they actually enjoy.
Yeah.
You're good at hardware. That's literally your role now. Getting ahead of the curve, getting the best prices. That's amazing. What you do helps so many people. I've now got a traffic light system where I can get the best stuff at the cheapest prices. That saves me so much time. And to have a role where I can do what I feel like I'm, say, good at, what I enjoy doing, which I have been doing, say, like a side hustle, which is something, a hobby, and incorporating that to work is unbelievable. And I don't think I could get that at
But
any
again,
other
I
company.
think that falls back to what we were saying about getting up in the morning and
Yeah.
being fine coming in. You don't mind spending the extra time. I mean, like you said, both me and you are sitting on our Saturday night doing this right now.
Yeah, no, like I said, I really appreciate it, mate.
It's
really
a laugh. Why not get involved with the extra stuff? Why not try and push your store, push yourself with that sort of thing?
One thing I think is crazy is when I actually had a meeting, for those of you who follow my daily Instagram stories, you would have sort of seen part of this. And if you're not, feel free to check it out. It's in the link in the description. I'll also leave your Instagram, James's Instagram, for the people that just listen to this only. Yours and who. James's Instagram will be in the description as well. So some of you may know this already, but I had a meeting recently to discuss the social media role and what they were expecting and what the sort of plans were for the year. Sean wants to come on this podcast. That's amazing. Like, and the reason I want him on here is because something that I think that you'll probably share the same values of. We have such a huge, I'd probably say, opportunity to grow EL science. Like, this is one of the things that make Phoenix stick out for me more than anything. And that's the fact that we have the safest e-liquids on the planet and no one is talking about it. Yeah. And I'm not saying that as a dig. This is something we're planning on doing. But with all the US flavour stuff, that brand should have been there first going, well, don't worry. Here's all the risk assessments. Here's the toxicology reports. And a lot of people are thinking, what? But the fact that we have that is insane. And the fact that the company are willing to go, like Sean was like, yeah, I'll get involved. I'll sit there and I'll tell you all about it.
Well, you ask any other company for their toxicology reports, you're not going to get very far.
Oh, yeah, we'll stock your product, but can you give us a risk assessment? What's one of those? What? It's insane.
But we're inhaling this.
Yeah.
Customers are inhaling this. We need this information out there. And the fact that we've all been trained how to explain this information as well. It's not just, here's a folder, have a look at it. We'll go through everything they need to go through.
Because admittedly, we're not toxicologists, but the fact that we have the information, like you said, they've trained us on how to put that across to, I say, the general public, for someone who's not a toxicologist, essentially. That's insane. That's so good to have that on hand.
I mean, for us, it needs to be dulled down even now when they're explaining it to us.
I'll be honest with you. When we first got it, I looked and I was like, I have no idea what any of this is.
Have you ever sat down, have you been up ahead of sitting down with the scientists and they're just doing this and you're sitting there like, wow, you're so smart. I have absolutely no idea what you're going on about, but thumbs up to you, mate. Like, well done.
That was another thing that Sean and some other people, I think Pete was involved as well, really up for that. They want me to go up there and do like a documentary series on EL science so we can show you guys exactly what goes on and from start to finish. Follow the director around for a day, see what he actually gets up to. Go speak to these scientists. Do you remember Ricardo from one of the scientists? He is the guy, whenever he sees a person like in the lab, which, by the way, like I've never seen labs like it for something in this industry. When I first saw him, I was like, whoa, this is mad. Like, it honestly is. Ricardo, I think, I don't want to get this wrong, either Portuguese, Spanish, around that sort of area of the world. Very, very nice guy. You can tell that he loves his work. Absolutely loves it. Same with the new flavour guy we got. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But when you see these people, because they don't interact with a lot of people throughout the day and they're into their work, their eyes light up.
Oh, he's a crazy scientist. He was absolutely brilliant. Smell this, have a whiff of this, we whack that and that and that and that. I was like,
but being able to do
fantastic.
Being able to produce those sort of chemicals that are the safest and well ahead of the TPD, it just blows my mind. I'm so grateful and to be in a position where I work for a company and I haven't got to worry about products on the shelf.
Well, it's how they do it as well. You think, take a blueberry muffin, for example. You think, it's simple. It's some sort of blueberry concentrate, a little bit of bakery concentrate, a little bit of cinnamon. Then when you think, well, actually, we've done this, this, and this with it, you're like, to get that flavour, you've had all of this. And it's like, and it passes completely.
One backhanded compliment I get in store level quite often, especially for newer vapors or, I say, experienced vapors, people that have tried a lot of different juices, is they'll always come back and go, do you know what? These cedar juices, they're really kind on my coils. I get an extra bit of life out of them. Or, these short fills don't burn my coils out as quick. And I know it's something very subtle, and I know people at head office will go, is that all they're saying? They should be saying they're amazing. And yeah, people like the flavours, but that little comment is from all of the hard work they do because it makes it cleaner and safer.
Well, there's nothing that's in them that doesn't need to be in them.
Exactly.
You take a lot of the American brands and they just chuck an awful lot of stuff just to bring the ultimate sweetness through and all that sort of thing.
I find that right now...
Yeah, tastes quite nice. Day
Malaysian
later, you're
juice.
buying another coil.
Yeah, same with Malaysian juice right now.
Yeah.
It is so full of sweetener that you can... I've actually had customers, I've sold a coil that are using Malaysian juice. They'll go away and they'll come back within an hour. Same taste from
Well, if you overdo it with the Coolada as well, so Coolada can be either in crystal form, powder form, depending which one you use, crystal form especially, it will ruin a coil. You add the sweetness to that as well, and
You're
don't be
destroying
surprised. Whereas you use the Coolada properly, yes, you can get that cold, fresh flavour, but it doesn't have to ruin your coil.
Exactly. Now everyone watching or listening is on
Breast 23 if you want to get more scientific.
Dropping some knowledge bombs. That's literally why we're here. Now, this may be a bit more of an intrusive, or I say intrusive, inquisitive. I don't know. I'm not very good with words. I just seem to ramble a lot. One thing I'm curious to know is, like I said, without specifics or throwing anyone under the bus. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not fussed. You said you worked at Phoenix and somewhere else. Were there night and day comparatives as to what you preferred and why? Were there some that you preferred here and not there, and vice versa, or was it just like, no, this place is just so much better?
Well, firstly, I wasn't a manager at the previous place.
Okay.
I just worked there, so it wasn't down to make my own decisions, that sort of thing.
Was it more of you in the learning curve of the industry?
Yeah.
Getting into it, and you already had the knowledge as we talked about earlier, but actually being behind the till.
I mean,
doing the
hats
legwork.
off to the bloke. I bought a lot of my kit from him to start with.
Okay.
I learned to build through him. So I've got a lot of appreciation for the guy. But
Of course.
when you start getting into industry, you don't want to be somebody's second, or I didn't want to be somebody's second.
No, I totally get that.
I wanted my own shop, I wanted my own freedom, and I wanted to do my own thing. So, yeah, I appreciate everything he did for me, but it was a matter of I need to have my own place. I want to be doing what he's doing.
You got to the relationship stage. Have you ever shared living with anyone before? Like not just your partner, but say like with family as well? Or, you get to that stage in your relationship, you're like, we just need our own bubble. We need to move on and move out.
Yeah.
No, it got like that with work. I get it.
Yeah.
I was pretty much the same when I first joined here. It was a case of I come in like a bull in a china shop. I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to be the best advice giver I could be.
No, you were everywhere.
I was in every store possible to get a grips of different types of clients, different customers, how different managers like their stores to be run. And like I said, what we touched on earlier, they all focus on a community, which is something that is such a plus. I love that we have a community in each store.
I think really, if you haven't got a community, there's no point having a shop.
Exactly. But
you just Tesco's at the end
exactly.
of the day.
You just come in, get your stuff, go.
Buy your bread
and one thing I was saying to a few regulars the other day is the next 5 years of the high street, especially in the UK, is going to be, drastic changes. The only things that are going to survive are service-based.
Well, I read an article not that long ago. So the three growing industries at the moment: coffee shops, barbers, vape shops, because there's always a need for them. And again, and tattoo shops, sorry.
Yeah, service-based.
And I think it's a lot, same with the vape shops.
Yeah.
You go to a tattoo artist, you choose one you like their work, you keep on going.
You can't go
Again,
online
with the
for
barbers, you like a haircut.
Yeah.
I mean, not me, but
I'm glad you're wearing a beanie today, because I wanted to save some time this morning, because I had time doing my hair, and I was like, if I turn up looking like a scruff ball and you're all smart, then you're going to like the presenter.
Yeah, you're going to these shops for a reason.
Yeah.
It's because you've had a good experience. That's where you want to stay, and you can see why these are growing on our high streets.
Yeah, of course.
We're in Bishop Stortford. There are an awful lot of coffee shops. There are an awful lot of barber shops. There's even barber shops next to barber shops. But it's because they've all got their clientele. They're always given that service, and I think that's why, again, this industry is growing as well.
Do you think we're on the cusp of oversaturation of stores in small towns? Just a general
Bishop
question.
Stortford's relatively small. We've got 3 proper vape shops. We've got phone shops that sell vapes. We've got a couple of little pop-up stalls. We've got Tesco's, Sainsbury's, all of that to sell that sort of thing. And I think that's where customer service comes into its own.
Yeah,
you
of course.
have to have that edge. If you're just, here's your stuff on your way, I might not shop here again. If you're getting that customer service, you're having a good chat, you're getting to know the people. When you touched upon it earlier, that people come in, even when they're not buying stuff, just to see how you are, have a coffee. You're genuinely volumes. Part of their life.
Yeah.
Who I hang out with mostly outside of the store are customers now. We go to expos together, we go out, have a few drinks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's what you want to do.
So
that is literally
excellent.
Building a community. But it's a community you feel comfortable in, that when the door shuts, it continues. That's the second time in this podcast where we've been talking so fluidly that the camera's just shut off. And that's only a good sign, right? We feel comfortable with each other. And we just keep rambling. So hopefully there's some good stuff in here. But what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this segment. It's really interesting just to talk about being in this industry, talking about this company a little bit more. And if you give us 2 seconds, we'll have a quick break, and then we'll be back with our Sherlock Holmes for the week. Welcome back for the Sherlock Holmes. So every podcast has a gimmick. For those of you who are listening, I'm wearing a Sherlock Holmes hat. I have my magnifying glass, and I have my pipe, which I'm still working on to get like a pipe vape, but I still can't find one. James just said off camera that there's is it the Camry 1000?
Camry K1000.
I may have to invest. But essentially, this part of the show is where we talk about something in the industry that isn't being talked about. So this last week we spoke with Nick, my fiance, about the dangers of ceramic coils. I don't know if you caught that, maybe you didn't. I thought it was quite interesting that you have done like studies on things like that. But the whole point of this is week by week we talk about new things that are relevant to the guests. So this week I was investigating, something was actually brought to my attention that shops all up and down the country, or vape shops in specific, are not IDing people and selling to underage kids. So I wanted to just kind of go skim over the article and get your general thoughts about it. Obviously, we do not condone this, but I wanted just to kind of bring this light to you guys. They constantly say in the over in America they have like a teen epidemic when it comes to mango flavored Juul pods. We don't really get that over here, thank God. I just want to go through this article and see what you think about it. So this is actually from the BBC. You can take from. I'm not going to get political, but you can take from that what you will. I typically find that they're, at least within the margins of some element of truth. But the article I'm thinking about, the article I'm reading, the title is Vaping. I'm 17 and rarely ID'd for E6. Okay, so nice little picture there, which I'll put on the screen. So it says the statistic is almost 40% of sellers targeted by councils in England have been caught illegally allowing children to buy e-cigarette products, a report has found. 90 of the 227 premises tested sold vaping goods to underage teenagers in 2018/19. Data from 34 councils showed. Trading Standards, which has compiled the research, has called for greater resources to enforce the law. And then it goes on to say that Public Health England said vaping was 95% healthier than smoking, which I still solidly stand by.
Yeah,
Public Health England and the NHS and cancer research have come to the same conclusion. Why would you think against it? And then lastly it says... What's that?
Liquid in my lungs, I just read that.
Yeah, so this article was kind of split into three. It kind of goes into the whole... a lot of people in the UK try jumping on the US death and vaping bandwagon. There's a lot of it that can be easily debunked, and a lot of these are from years ago. But yeah, the last thing...
I read this on Facebook. Oh, did you know?
Exactly.
Well done.
So the last bit is just quite an interesting stat. There is an estimated 3.6 million people in the UK which now use electronic cigarettes. So first off, what is your thought on that? 40% of shops across the UK that are selling to underage kids. Does that surprise you, or are you like, it's England? I'm just going to...
It is surprising. You would have thought more people could muster a simple question.
Yeah.
It's not difficult.
Yeah.
Especially when so many places are think 25. This person looks under 25, ask them a question.
It's not hard.
It's as simple as don't get into anything, get it out of the way straight away, and then you're golden. They're either going to have the ID or they're not. One thing that really infuriates me about that is, one, it surprises me. That's a ridiculous statistic. And when this was brought to my attention, I thought, right, I'll try and do some more research. I couldn't find anything else that was dissimilar to this. So I'm going to say that the stats that they've found are within a ballpark. Yeah.
They're not complete lies. They're not complete truth. They're within a ballpark. And I thought 40% is way too high. It's way too high. If you was to say 5 to 10%, even though that's not acceptable, it's more believable. You think, oh, okay, people are slipping through the nets. Maybe they're struggling vape stores, or like we said earlier, vape stores that just set up for money.
Yeah, but it sort of falls into that. No customer servicing, it's all about the sales. At that point, does it really matter who they're serving?
Exactly that.
Whereas, teenagers are going to try it.
Of course.
We were teenagers. We tried it on back then.
I'll be brutally honest with you. I was smoking as a teen, and if vaping was a thing, I think my parents would take the smart decision of saying it's better for you, but we'd rather you not do either.
Yeah.
I don't think my mum would just go, yeah, I'll go buy you a vape. Like a lot of parents tried to do. I'd get a lot of proxy sales in my store. And it's very easy to notice and indicate. It's very easy to deal with.
But the amount of parents that don't understand as well. You get them coming, I want to buy a vape for my 16-year-old. Well, I'm not serving you then. Yeah, but I'm old enough. It's irrelevant. You're buying for a minor. Yeah, but it's my money and I'm old enough. Yeah. Yes, but what you're doing isn't right and is illegal as well.
And the thing is, what I usually say is, I go, cool, you go to Tesco's and say the exact same thing. You go, I want to buy some cigarettes for my 16-year-old. And they'll go, no. I want to buy this bottle of whiskey for my 16-year-old. They'll go, no. It's a proxy sale. Just because, and I find that a lot of people see the vaping industry as, well, it's just vapes, isn't it? Even though we are tightly regulated like tobacco, and like I've said in previous videos and previous podcasts, I do think that is necessary. I think we do need to have some sort of regulation, especially when it is still in its infancy in terms of government law. However, the general public don't see it that way.
Well, a few years ago, the general public didn't even realise. They'd come in, I want to buy this. Have you got ID? What do you mean if I've got ID? You need to be 18 to buy this.
It's electronic cigarettes.
Really? But there was a confusion back then, and a good vape shop would still clear that up and get that sorted. But nowadays, everybody knows. There should be no excuse for it. And like I said, you get the kids trying their luck. But it's a simple question. Ask it, be done with it.
100%. It's one of those
there's no
things.
reason it shouldn't be asked.
And do you know what makes me laugh? Is out of that, it said, 90 out of 227 that were tested, right? Now, obviously there are other mystery shoppers who have been set up to obviously get them to fail, just to kind of test the waters. I guarantee you out of that 90 vape shops, there was probably a good 70 of them that had a sign on the door that says, we are an authorised retailer, we ask for ID.
Got one there, there, and behind me over there.
We have the Challenge 25 by the till, visible in-store, on the windows. It is everywhere. You cannot get away. So when people go, when I ask for ID and they go, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, there's literally 4 things in the store right now I can point to. It's in your eyesight. It's in your peripherals. What makes you think I wasn't going to ask for ID? It's not my fault you look young. And when I get it wrong, I always make a joke of it. I say, look, in 10 years' time, when I look like an old sacky ball bag, you're going to look like a baby face. It's going to be great.
But most people, you don't even have to say that, because if you ask, they just go, yeah, here you go, mate. And that's that.
So touching on that then, what would you do or what would you implement to reduce that percentage? What would you think is an acceptable percentage? In an ideal world, it would be 0, but let's be realistic. There's always going to be some margin of error, whether it's accidental or they just don't care and they're willing to take the fine and they're in it for a quick buck. What would you do, or is there anything that you would like to see implemented to kind of reinforce the severity or just the regulation in general? Do you think more information is needed, or do you think it's past that point?
I don't think any more information is needed.
No, I totally agree.
The people that are chancing it are just chancing it. Can I get away with it here? As soon as you reinforce the fact that it is not happening, they're going to tell their mates if they're underage, don't bother trying here. And that's that. Done. I mean, in Bishop Stortford, we're pretty lucky with it. We don't get much of it.
Okay, that's good to know.
I barely ever have to ID. Go 15, 20 minutes down the road, Harlow Way, you'd be IDing every other customer. We're not a college town. We're not a massive school town. Right, schools are outside of Stortford. And we made it very clear from when we opened, we were IDing. And I think once you've made that clear, people just think, not even going to bother.
I think you need to stamp your authority on it.
Yeah.
You do need to do that. So when I moved across to the Ware store, it was like my first real project to try and grow a store. And I loved that place, built an amazing community. Fortunately, the store's not there anymore, which is quite sad. But at the same time, it is what it is. There's a lot of variables to it. But one thing you had to do is you had to put your foot down. And you had to be like, cool, I don't care if there's a college up the road. If you and your friends want to come in here and, I'm going to test you. Like, what I remember being that age, I remember trying my luck. But when you're the other side of the counter, you can see it so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, but the difference is I was always polite with it. If I was trying to get some drink underage, that sort of thing, I went in, I'd like some beers, please, 20 B&H or whatever, and they'd say, have you got ID? My thing would be, well, I'm not getting served, so no, I haven't. See you later.
Oh, okay. A lot of people I know would go, I left it in the car. Let me go check. And just never go back.
But what's the point of the million excuses? Because everybody's going to do that, and it doesn't change the fact that I've had a woman that went, I promise you I'm old enough.
So one thing I've seen happen recently, which I'd like to get your opinion on actually, a lot of kids, I say kids, I suppose they are because they're underage, or whatever, even people that are of age, there's this new, I've got my ID on my phone. Now, I'm not saying that someone's just got a picture. I mean, some of them are that bad that you can see a photoshopped image. It's just a driving license with the numbers changed over. But there's an app where you can upload photographic ID. I personally, we're not allowed to take it. But what's strange is I've seen government adverts on buses and billboards about, if you put this on there, it's recognised here, here, and there. One, what are they doing? Two, I do not trust that. I do not trust that. Have you had anyone try and do that with you yet?
Well, do you remember back in the day, citizens cards?
Everywhere I was talking about these.
You can take that and that'll be an ID everywhere. Nowhere accepts it. In my mind, that's the exact same thing. You got it on your phone. It's as useful as a citizen's card. That I tried to get into clubs and stuff. This was when I was 18 plus. They were like, it's not ID. I
was told it had a pass hologram on it. It's acceptable. And they're like, nah.
Nope, nobody will take it. And that's the same thing. You've either got the ID with you or you aren't getting served. I don't care if it's on your phone or what. You can use your phone to pay if you've got ID. You can use your phone to text your mates about our products. I don't mind, but if I ask you for ID, I want the ID. I had a guy come out with a printed copy of his ID. I mean, that's brilliant. Why don't you bring me the real thing? Didn't quite put it like that.
Yeah, of course.
Polite, but
at least he's trying.
And he went, oh, okay. And he did genuinely come back about an hour later with his passport. He went, I didn't want to lose the passport. That's why I've done it that way. I said to him, nowhere's going to serve you with that printed like that.
Yeah, of course.
And he was fine about it. He'd only been 18 for a couple of months, but he was 18.
That's fair enough. I mean, on the flip side of that, there are some things, items in local supermarket. Actually, I should probably touch on it for people that are just listen only, or some of my viewers are from America. In the UK, if you're under the age of 18 and if you just turn 18, like an 18 plus, you guys might have something different, but we had something called citizen cards. It was mainly through your secondary school was set up. Yeah, certain age classes, so you'd have like 13 to 14, 14 to 15, 16 plus, and then when you become 18, it'd be like 18 plus. And there were little cards that were essentially, I think, looking back, they were ID cards for parents or adults to look at and know exactly what school they go to and how old they are, rather than a form of ID. Because to be honest, why do you need an ID to say you're 14? What would you need to be 14 for? Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to clear that up quickly. But going back to ID, a funny story. My dad, very old guy, early retirement, very lucky man. The last time he got asked for ID, do you know what he did? He whipped out his paper driving license. He was like, are you kidding me? At the time, he was like 57 or whatever. He's like, I need ID. She's like, I'm just doing my job. Yeah, again, like we would do. If you're ever in doubt, ask. It's simple as that. He whipped out a paper driving license. Like, this was made before you were born. She was like, oh, I can't take that. He was like, what do you mean? She was like, I need photographic. He was like, I haven't got anything. I'm like,
that is the worst one when somebody IDs you that's younger than you.
Mate.
And you're just like, really?
Do you know, I went into Tesco's the other night. Yeah, again, it was on my Instagram stories. We had a sink blockage. Went into Tesco's. Thought, I'll get some Mr. Muffs or whatever. It goes through standing water and all that. I could go up to the self-service and buy, essentially, bleach on steroids, no ID. As soon as you put a Red Bull through, I need ID.
Got ID'd for a Red Bull the other day.
Where's the logic? So kids that are under the age of 18 obviously can't buy knives, alcohol, or Red Bulls, you know. Yeah. And fair enough, I think that should be in place. I think
Red Bull is an offensive weapon.
Exactly, they're quite heavy, them beer cans. But effectively, they can go by washing up detergent, like bleach, Mr. Muscle, things that they can use for acid attacks, things they can use to actually consume and kill themselves. No problem. I don't need ID for those. That's fine. It makes no sense.
Tide pods that they can vape.
Exactly. It's dumb. So dumb. But yeah, sorry, we derailed from the point a little bit there.
We will do that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's why I love these podcasts so much, is because it gives you the freedom to do that. But yeah, so 40% for me is too high. In an ideal world, it would be 0. But where do you see it being more realistically? What would you say is a bit more believable? Or do you think it is 40%? Do you think people just don't care? Or it's not enforced enough?
There's an awful lot of shops that don't care. There's an awful lot. And I think it'd be interesting to know, do they have the little convenience stores, the little offies, including that have a vape section?
Right, or you are, okay. So
because if they have that included,
I don't think that's not
you can
primary
guarantee
income.
that'd be a 40%.
Yeah, because they're not taking it seriously.
I can't believe any big chain vape shops would be running that risk. But you've got a lot of independents that are struggling against the bigger stores.
However, I mean, when I was talking to a few of the older customers about this throughout the week, they were saying, yeah, but when I was younger, like I'd know Bill downstairs at the news agents, and he'd let me buy fags for my dad with a written letter, and it'd be all good. So it's a bit, and I'm like, yeah, but times have changed.
A lot. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Times have changed. I can't go in with a bit of paper saying, well, this is my mum's signature and I want to buy one of these. They'll go, cool.
We've all got computers. We can edit the hell out of something.
That's why I don't trust the photo ID app.
Exactly. You need to have the actual one.
And for people who don't have a driving license, it is worth getting a provisional because it's a form of ID. Your passport. I don't like personally carrying it around because if I lose it, I can't leave the country. But it's a form of ID.
That's why I don't have my passport anymore. Drunken night out.
Exactly, prime example. But yeah, you're right. A physical form of ID is just, for me, it's just common sense. Before I leave the house or the flat, phone, vapes, keys, wallet. But in my wallet, it's always my ID and my bank card.
It's just the thing, if something happened to you, ID.
100%. If I'm in a car crash and I need to be ID'd because my face is even more messed up than it is now.
Oh, you're gorgeous. Don't worry. It's all good.
Oh. Joe, one of the, did you see in the group chat this morning? Apparently, when they put this YouTube playlist on their store, their customer was like, "Oh, he's well fit." And I was like, "What? I don't get compliments. That's mad." Sorry, Nick, if you're watching, but you know you've got competition.
That was actually me, Nick. Actually me.
You've got competition now. Yeah, I just think it's crazy. Like it becomes second nature when you get to 18 because you get to a point where you're like, I just want to be 18 because then I can legally buy these things and no one can tell me no and I have ID. And then it just becomes second nature. Nobody wears off, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'd speak to people that don't leave the house.
No, I turned 18. Wallet. I didn't actually get ID'd all night. I was really stuff about it. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, of course.
I just kept ordering more random drinks and different cocktails and all that sort of thing. Must have spent a couple £100. No one asked. Then that's again, mad. I grew this beard when I was like 14. So
to be fair,
generally speaking, I'm all right.
Tom's the same. I don't know if you've seen him either on Instagram or on the channel from years ago. He had a beard in year 6. Like that guy's never getting ID. Do you know what I mean? And that's fair enough. But is there anything you would like to see either implemented or something you would personally change to try and reduce that number?
Cracking down on the shops that.
So what do you think is a fair punishment? Because I think right now it is a hefty fine. And a slap on the wrist, and if it's done again, you get your license taken away and you're shut down. So you kind of get the leeway of, okay, it was a genuine accident, I just forgot, and then you kind of got a bit of leeway. However, as much as I'm a fan of, you know, we're all human. Yeah. We do make mistakes. Do you think it's too harsh to shut you down on the spot?
Like, we're jumping on what you just said about the beard, that sort of thing. I've had this for years. I could get served years before I was 18. If a bloke comes in that's losing his hair at a young age with a beard...
You're not going to think, oh, he's underage?
Yeah, you're not. And I didn't have any issue with that. And I think if I'd walked into a shop when I was 16 odd, maybe I wouldn't have ID'd myself.
Okay.
So it is hard sometimes. And I think just asking that question a bit more, if it even briefly pops into your head, ask.
Yeah, exactly. We have the Challenge 25 for a reason in this country.
I ID'd a woman the other week. She was 34 years old with 3 kids. She's now my best friend, by the way, for asking her. But genuinely, she looked about 17.
Mad. I want to know a skincare routine. That's mental.
Oh, she looked amazing. But yeah, she didn't look like a 30-something-year-old mum of 3.
I get it. I've been in this situation with the same sort of customers, not the same demographic, but, you know, just on occasion where you just think, wait, what? You don't look old enough. You like when I say I'm setting up a customer card and ask for their date of birth, and I'm like, wait, what? Like before I do this, I want to check your ID, and I look at their date of birth and go, you're older than me. Like it just doesn't look like you are, and I think that is a difficult thing. But One thing, we touched on this earlier about how some people were completely oblivious that we are tied to smoking laws the way we are. And I think it's also that aspect that people are oblivious to. It's how serious it is. It's, if someone was caught selling alcohol or cigarettes, it's a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be. I think it should follow suit, but at the same time, I mean, this is why I don't do that job. I couldn't make the decision whether to get rid of that element of, you know, you are human, you're not perfect. However, don't do this again, or we're going to shake down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're the same as me. Yes, we have a lot of products in here that you don't have to be 18 to buy. We sell T-shirts, we sell drinks, that sort of thing. As soon as you walk through my door, you're not buying anything unless you can show ID, and that's the way it needs to be, really. That's what everybody should be doing.
No, that's fair enough. I think that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, what do you guys think? I've just read through this whole podcast. I've not spoke to you guys as much as I should have. So if you are still here, you are the real MVP. Make sure you leave a like and comment below. What are your thoughts on this recent study? Do you think 40% of stores in the UK is too high to not be IDing? I personally think it is way too high. However, like James said, if you're going to incorporate, say, like corner shops or news agents that are selling vape products as a bolt-on accessory and they don't take that as seriously, I think they're involved in that. I don't think it's any major high street independent or maybe independent, but no high street brands, you know, regulate.
I can see it happening more in independents. There's nothing against them. It's just...
Well, you've got to compete with big corporations.
You've got to compete. And when you're working against companies like us that have had the lab, that invest in the lab, that are bringing out all these new juices all the time,
you've got to do something.
Somebody might want that edge, and they might not care what's the chances of getting caught, that sort of thing.
I am glad that trading stands are clamping down on it, though. Yeah,
well, you see when the actual TPD went through, the amount of vape shops that got shut that day because they just didn't bother following regulations.
Yep, and I'm glad that was chased up as well.
That really does prove that they're on the ball with it. There was a ton of shops, I think about 6-7 of them in Manchester alone.
That's crazy.
That within a few hours of the TPD passing, they were shut down because they just did not take 30 mils with nicotine off the shelf.
Yeah.
And
That's
you think
crazy.
It's a simple thing to do. And again, that comes down, it's that simple with the IDing.
Yeah, it's got to be.
You've got to do it, so do it.
Exactly. Well, I think that wraps up today's podcast very nicely. So thank you again for coming on. I hope you enjoyed your experience. It means a lot. And like I said, I know it's late. We'll get you home to your family. I'm not going to hold you hostage for the weekend because we're both at work tomorrow. So me editing this to get this out for Sunday. If it actually comes out on Sunday, then I haven't slept. So
you're editing. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, exactly. But if you guys enjoyed this podcast, then be sure to leave a like. Make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on if you haven't already. I will leave all of the socials in the link below, so if you feel free to follow any of us. I'll do my daily Instagram stories if you want to see the behind the scenes of how these things get put together. Plus, I'm a bit weird, so I just decided to vlog my days on my Instagram stories. I want to thank you guys for all the support on the first episode of the podcast, and thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate
You're welcome, buddy.
And I shall see you guys in the next video.
Have a good one.
Peace.